If you are a man over 60 and you've ever been told to eat more vegetables for improved health, pause for a moment and pay attention, because one of those vegetables in your fridge right now could be utterly draining your energy, compromising your prostate, and undermining your sexual vitality. It isn't simply a natural consequence of aging, it's the result of following well-intentioned dietary advice that fails to account for powerful plant compounds that, in certain contexts, tip the balance against your body's masculine potential. I'm Dr. Mariah, a urologist and men's health specialist with over 3 decades of experience guiding men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s back to peak energy and sexual function naturally, by harnessing the remarkable medicine on your plate rather than in a prescription bottle. In this extended guide, you'll discover 3 commonly lauded vegetables you must eliminate or drastically limit to preserve testosterone, circulation, and prostate health, plus 3 underappreciated vegetable allies you should welcome into your daily meals, prepared in precise ways to rebuild blood flow, sharpen your confidence, and restore your vitality in days. You'll also get an essential bonus tip at the end that ensures your body absorbs every drop of beneficial nutrients. By the time you finish reading, you'll see that real, lasting male vigor doesn't come from pills or pumps. It starts with science-backed choices in the produce aisle. Once you know the truth, you'll never view your veggies or your health the same way again. My journey into uncovering these truths began decades ago, back when I first established my practice focused on men's urological and sexual health. Early on, I noticed a puzzling pattern among my older patients. Despite doing everything right, exercising, monitoring cholesterol, and dutifully following their physician's dietary advice, they still complained of mounting fatigue, flagging libido, and even tender or swollen prostates. Routine labs revealed one consistent thread: rising levels of estrogen metabolites in the blood, even as testosterone hovered at the low end of normal, and markers of systemic inflammation creeping upward. Initially, I attributed these findings to the inevitable decline of gonadal function and the subtle inflammatory shifts that come with age. But as I dug deeper into dietary histories, lifestyle nuances, and even cooking methods, I began to see a different story. Many of these men were unknowingly consuming plant compounds that mimic estrogen, overloading on cheap oils that stoke invisible fires of inflammation, or binding essential minerals in their gut before those minerals even had a chance to nourish their cells. Let's begin by looking closely at the first vegetable culprit, soy. Most of us recognize soy as a heart-healthy, cholesterol-lowering, plant-based source of protein. For decades, public health advocates have championed soy products, soy milk, tofu, tempeh, edamame as prudent swaps for red meat and dairy. But soy harbors phytoestrogens, plant-derived molecules structurally similar to human estrogen that bind estrogen receptors in both men and women. In younger bodies, moderate phytoestrogen intake may indeed support health. Premenopausal women, for example, can benefit from soy's gentle estrogenic activity. But for men over 60 whose natural testosterone production is already on a slow descent, phytoestrogens can exert a countervailing effect, tipping the hormonal seesaw toward estrogen. The result: diminished libido, softer muscle tone, mounting fatigue, and erectile challenges. Consider James, a retired school principal who walked into my clinic at 68 complaining of persistent tiredness and a vanishing bedroom spark. Despite his lean diet, daily walks, and optimal cardiac metrics, James said, "Doctor, I feel run down, and that fire between my sheets is gone." His labs told the tale: testosterone at the low normal threshold and circulating estrogen levels akin to a woman in her late reproductive years. On reviewing his diet, I discovered James had dutifully replaced steaks and milk with tofu scrambles at breakfast, soy lattes midday, and edamame snacks in the evening, all on the advice of well-meaning cardiologists. The math was unavoidable. His regular soy intake was exposing him to upwards of 50 milligrams of phytoestrogens daily, effectively doubling or tripling what studies associate with estrogenic effects in men. We phased out soy-based foods, replacing them with lean poultry, fish, and grass-fed beef, and within 4 weeks, James reported waking up with renewed energy and observing firmer, more reliable erections. A month later, his wife delivered a handwritten note, "Thank you for giving me my husband back." Soy isn't inherently evil. Its cardiovascular benefits and satiety value can be invaluable for many. The takeaway for men over 60 is nuance. Retain small, infrequent servings if desired, but avoid daily, high phytoestrogen preparations, especially processed protein bars, meat analogs, and sauces that hide soy ingredients under unrecognizable labels. Turning next to our second unsuspected adversary, processed corn. Fresh corn on the cob may be a summer treat, but the multitude of corn-derived ingredients that saturate modern food, corn syrup, corn starch, corn oil, and their processed derivatives, form a hidden web of damage. At the heart of the problem is the fatty acid profile of refined oils, particularly corn oil, which is overwhelmingly rich in omega-6 polyunsaturated fats. While omega-6 is essential for cellular function, it must be balanced by omega-3 fatty acids, the types found in fatty fish, flaxseed, chia, and walnuts at roughly a 4:1 ratio or lower. The standard American diet skews this ratio as high as 20:1, fueling chronic low-grade inflammation, an insidious fire that never manifests as redness or heat but silently damages endothelial cells. Endothelial health is paramount for nitric oxide synthesis, the messenger molecule that relaxes blood vessels and sustains robust circulation. Once inflammation impairs the endothelium, arteries stiffen, blood flow to distal tissues including the penis veins, and inflammatory cytokines further exacerbate prostate swelling and joint discomfort. Robert's story illustrates this vividly. A 62-year-old former college coach, Robert prided himself on replacing butter with margarine and incorporating heart-healthy seed oils into every meal, corn oil in his salad dressings, soybean oil in his stir-fries, and canola oil in his baking. Yet he found himself battling persistent joint aches, chronic fatigue, and a marked decline in morning erections. By eliminating processed seed oils, entirely swapping them for olive oil, avocado oil, and grass-fed butter in moderation, while dramatically ramping up omega-3 intake through wild-caught salmon, sardines, and a high-grade fish oil supplement, providing 2 grams of EPA, DHA daily, Robert saw a rapid turnaround. His joint pain subsided, his energy rebounded, and within 6 weeks he was waking up to the unmistakable sign of healthy circulation. Morning wood. His subjective improvements mirrored objective gains. Follow-up blood work showed reduced markers of inflammation, CRP, and improved lipid ratios, underscoring how targeting dietary fats can restore vascular vitality. The third heavy-hitting vegetable that often works against older men is raw spinach, especially in the form of supercharged green smoothies. Spinach is undeniably nutrient-rich, boasting magnesium, folate, and vitamin K, but it also harbors high concentrations of oxalates. Oxalates bind essential minerals, most notably calcium and zinc, in the gut, rendering them insoluble and unabsorbable before they can cross the intestinal barrier. For zinc, the implications are profound. Zinc is the cornerstone mineral for testosterone synthesis, prostate health, immune competence, and cellular repair. When oxalates chelate zinc, they rob the body of a critical raw material for hormone production and cellular function.